What is it?
Well, it's a 2-hour session. You can either finish at 3:30,
Yeah.
or you can give us an hour,
Yeah.
an hour for free.
Yeah.
It's up to you. So finish by 4 will be fine.
Finish. So okay. So but 3:30 might be
Yeah.
2 hours is good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 2 hours is good.
And then, what time do you want to do? You're going to do pictures and things, is that right?
After offerings,
Yeah.
then we can go out to the big staircase to do
Okay.
the group photos,
Yeah.
and whoever can stay behind can help pack the mats. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, and Meta give a blessing,
Yeah. Good.
and then offering, then group photos.
Okay.
Because after they go out, then they
Yeah.
can just
Okay.
go.
If I do anything wrong, just tell me. And as we go along, see what happens. Yeah.
And you can either do guided meditation, sutta, Q&A,
Yeah.
whatever.
Do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 hours. We can do many things then.
You
2
do
hours.
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. Yeah. We can do many things.
Or 2-3 hours.
Yeah. Good. So let's just do a. Let's see if maybe I should use a microphone. Okay. Let's just do a little bit more of this sutta, because this sutta is so nice, and then we can do some bit more meditation, and we can do a bit of Q&A or whatever towards the very end. So we'll see how things go. And if I do anything wrong, Dana, you can just tell me what to do, because I'm happy to take orders. So just whenever you. I'm always right. Okay. Yeah. You're like one of these. Okay. Good. So we'll see what happens. So even if I'm wrong, I'm right. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. No judgment. Mm. Okay, so let's do a little bit more of the Upakilesa Sutta, and then we shall see here. So then when Anuruddha says that this is how they live, diligent, heedful, and resolute, then the Buddha says, yeah, remember this is just doing your duties in the right way, not talking too much, having a Dhamma discussion all night. Maybe we should have Dhamma discussions all night. Yes. In the future, yeah, not now. And then the Buddha says, good, Anuruddha and friends, but as you live diligent like this, have you achieved any superhuman qualities, any distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones, a meditation at ease? Now, one of the things I didn't mention before, and which is kind of interesting here, this word, the distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones. This is Allang Arya Jnana Dasana Visesa in the Pali language. So this is distinction in knowledge and vision. Yeah, knowledge and vision, Jnana Dasana. This means like insight. This is what you have when you become a stream entry. You have Jnana Dasana. Now, what are these knowledge and visions? What are these things? Well, they are, for example, the jhanas. They are part of these things. Yeah, they come under this classification of knowledge and vision. And so sometimes in Buddhism, we sort of divide the world into Vipassana world and Samatha world as if they are two separate things. But here, the jhanas themselves, which is the epitome of Samatha, of Samadhi, is called Jnanadasana, knowledge, insight, vision. Yeah, so this idea that it's possible to distinguish between Vipassana on the one hand and Samadhi on the other is a false kind of distinction. In the suttas, they always go together. If you have one, you have the other. If you have the other, you have one. They are two sides of the same coin. A peaceful person sees clearly. A person who really sees clearly becomes peaceful. They cannot really be distinguished. And so this is the right way of thinking about the development of the mind. There is no Vipassana meditation. There is no Samatha meditation. There is only meditation. And all meditation, when it works correctly, leads to two results. Samatha and Vipassana. These are results of the practice. They're not practices that you actually do. They're outcomes rather than techniques or methods that you do. And so this is a little bit different in the way it is talked about in the suttas than how you normally hear about it in contemporary Buddhist circles, where they make it into different kinds of meditation. So, for example, watching the breath, what is that? That's Samatha and Vipassana, both at the same time. The jhanas are called by this name. So that's interesting. It doesn't mean that you have insight while you are in jhana. That's not what it means. What it means is that, first of all, you need a lot of insight to get to the jhanas because you need to abandon so much. And it also means that as a result of jhanas, you will have a different understanding of the nature of the world. And in this way, they work together here. Okay, anyway, so I don't know if that is interesting for you, but anyway, there it is. Now you know whether you want to know it or not. Okay, then, so have you achieved any of these things? And then Anuruddha, he replies, well, sir, while meditating, heedful, keen, and resolute, we perceive both lights and vision of forms. But before long, the light and the vision of forms vanish. We haven't worked out the reason for that. Light is obasa. Vision of form is, what is it, vision of form? Rupa something. Rupa. What is it called? Genitive. Okay, yeah. So vision of it, there must be the word vision must be there as well. What do you have the word for vision? Is it there next to? Okay, so seeing, okay, vision of form, okay. So the rupas are forms, and obasa is light, yeah? And so one of the things about when you read the suttas is that you will notice that the word that we use in contemporary Buddhism when we talk about the things we see in the mind, we use the word nimitta. Nimitta, yeah, we talk about the lights in the mind, like seeing the sun and these kind of things. And these are very important parts of the meditation practice. And so people have been writing all these articles. Why doesn't it exist in the suttas? In fact, the word nimitta is found in the suttas, but in a different meaning. In the suttas, it means like a foundation or a basis. So, for example, the satipatthanas are called the samadhi nimitta in the suttas. Isn't that interesting? Satipatthana is called the samadhi nimitta. The satipatthanas are the foundation for samadhi. That's what they're called in the suttas. If you go to the Chula or Mahavedalla Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 43 or 44, can't remember which one of those, you find it there. So Satipatthana is the foundation for samadhi. You do Satipatthana to achieve samadhi. And samadhi is both peace and insight. It's very confusing. After a while, you kind of get really... The point is that you cannot divide these things up. Yeah, they all support each other. They work together on this path. That's really the idea here. And so if nimitta has a different meaning, then what about these lights that we see in meditation? Aren't they talked about in the suttas? And they are. This is what you see here. Obasa. This is how these things are talked about in the suttas. You see two things. You see a form and you see a light. And this is exactly what nimittas are in meditation practice. When you see a light, it can be very intense, very splendid, very magnificent, and usually it comes with a shape. Rupa is shape or form. It comes like a disc or something like that, something round usually. Sometimes it can also be different. So here the suttas talk about that, and we shall see later on that if you're able to stabilize those nimittas, then the Buddha says, well, then you go into the jhanas. So it fits exactly in that sequence. So this is what these nimittas are in the suttas. It's kind of interesting. And now the suttas are talking about some of the experience that some of you had. You've had some of this experience in your meditation. This is kind of, that this is very interesting and very, you know that you are really enjoying the meditation when you come to this point. And so when Anuruddha says that we perceive this light and the vision, these nimittas, we see these things, but then they vanish. It doesn't take too long, they vanish. And we haven't worked out the reason for that. And this is kind of very interesting. Here we are talking about maybe some of the greatest meditators in the history of Buddhism. Anuruddha becomes the Buddha's #1 disciple in the divine eye. These are some of the top meditators. And they are having difficulties with these nimittas, in stabilizing them, in carrying on. If they have problems, why do we always say, oh, I want to get to the jhanas? This is not even the jhanas yet. And these are the greatest arahants, or not arahants yet, but soon to become arahants. They are having difficulties with these things. And so that means that we should be a bit humble about these meditations. We should not expect to have these tremendous insights and samadhi straight away when the greatest meditators in the world were having problems with these things. So we should expect these things not to come easy. Yeah, and they are very profound anyway. If you get to this stage, already you're blown out of your mind by the power and the brightness and the bliss that comes with these things. You can't even believe there's anything more blissful when you come to this point. Yeah, but actually there is. This is kind of extraordinary thing. You can go even beyond. So be careful with judging your meditation experiences, because these things are very profound when we're talking about these things. And if you judge it wrongly, it means that you may think you have achieved something, and then you won't actually go further on the path, and then you won't get those results the Buddha was promising. So be circumspect, as the Buddha is saying here. So these meditators were having problems. So if you are having problems, you are in very, very good company. Yeah, you're doing really well even by getting to this point. So then the Buddha replies. Yeah, this is kind of just Venerable Anuruddha. Then the Buddha replies. He said, well, you should work out the reason for that. Before my awakening, when I was still an unawakened but intent on awakening, Bodhisattva, yeah, it's the Buddha's autobiography, I too perceived both lights and visions of forms. But before long, my light and vision of forms vanished. The Buddha, to be, he also was having problems with this kind of meditation, right? He also had the lights and the vision of forms vanishing. And so this tells you that we are dealing with things that are very profound. And then the Buddha says, it occurred to me, what's the cause? What's the reason why my light and vision of forms vanish? It occurred to me, doubt arose in me. And because of that, my samadhi fell away. When samadhi falls away, the light and vision of forms vanish. I will make sure that doubt will not arise in me again. So this is, now the Buddha is teaching these three monks, these three meditation, very diligent disciples, what to do when you're having difficulties in meditation. And so this is a very good opportunity for all of you who are really keen on meditation and who are getting somewhere in your practice to understand, these kind of problems that arise. And so this is what this is all about. All these upakilesas, all these little refined defilements of the mind that block us from achieving these powerful things. And so the first thing the Buddha does, he notices that these things have disappeared. And straight away he asks the question, what is the cause? And this is the typical way for the Buddha, or the Buddha to inquire about everything. Everything has causes, everything has a reason. Nothing exists on its own. Everything is conditioned in a certain way. Nothing has an inherent existence in its own right. Causality is always the right way to ask about anything. So what is the cause? What is the reason? That is always the question we should ask. And then if you delve into that properly, you will find the causes and reasons why you're not making progress or whatever it is in your spiritual practice. So you inquire, this is the way to do this. And then when he inquires, and this is why also it is useful to reflect after your meditation, like we have done just a little bit at the end, and ask what happened. Then you can see the causality. What are the things that make meditation work? What are the obstacles to the meditation? That reflection at the end is very useful to be able to do this kind of analysis, this kind of investigation, to see how it works or doesn't work. And then if you do that in the right way, well, then you will see that something happened at that point. What happened at that point when suddenly everything vanished? Well, you were turning your mind in some kind of direction, and you were turning it towards something that gave rise to doubt. And so doubt arose, and then because of that, everything just collapsed. Because when you doubt, then you don't have that confidence that is required to stay with the object, to stay with what you're doing. The mind starts to waver. Is this right? Is it not right? So what does it mean, doubt, in this particular case? What exactly does it mean? Because doubt can have many forms. Like what is the way from here to Hong Kong, or here into the city? If you put me on the road down the bottom and said, walk to Hong Kong, I would have no idea what to do. I would be completely lost. I would probably die of starvation somewhere. No, I'm probably not actually. Probably someone will pick me up and they will say, can we... This is what happens very often here. But so doubt of a specific kind. So what is that doubt you're having at this point? Well, often the doubt is, what now? what happens next? What am I supposed to do, right? Okay, I have this vision of forms, but now what? Yeah, maybe you get a bit scared because it seems overpowering, or maybe whatever, and you start to worry about what's going on. So you have doubt about where to go, what to do, how to develop it further, whether it is right, is it good or not, is it too stable, should I be practicing samadhi, maybe I should do vipassana, maybe all the happiness is dangerous, yeah? All of these kind of things that we have been seeing all along, that is the problem. So no, don't doubt. The Buddha says this is good. You're on the right path. Stay with it. You're on the right track. No need to doubt at this point. These are wholesome qualities. Kusalesu dhammesu. This is how they define doubt in the suttas. It is doubt about what are wholesome qualities. So you don't know. You feel uncertain about is this really wholesome? Is it the best thing? What next? And so then you realize that was a silly thing to doubt things, and so you let the doubt go. You just trust that this is the right way. And as long as you feel stable, the things to watch out for in meditation is if you start to feel some bad qualities in the mind. Yeah, if you feel some strong desires, if you feel maybe confused, you start to feel that you're losing your mind a little bit, yeah, or whatever it is. That's where you have to be stop. And in some schools of meditation, they say, regardless of how crazy you feel, they say, carry on. And then you really go crazy, right? Because that's kind of what happens. So there's always some poor people who actually go a bit crazy on meditation retreats, but it's because they have bad advice. Yeah, if you stop, if it goes wrong, you stop, then you're always going to be okay. All right. So, then the samadhi falls away because doubt. Yeah? Because doubt, samadhi means one-pointed. Doubt means wavering. You're no longer focused. And so then the wavering happens, and then the wavering, you lose the light and you lose the vision of forms. Immersion is Bhante Sudato's translation for samadhi. I prefer Ajahn Brahm's translation, which is stillness. To me, that is more meaningful. But it's not wrong. It's just that it's a bit theoretical for my mind, immersion. Anyway, let us move on. So we're going to look at a few more obstacles. We'll see how many obstacles we can do before Della tells me to... Della won't tell me anything. I want her to tell me because then I don't have to think for myself. But anyway, okay. So, okay. While meditating, heedful, keen, and resolute, I perceive both light and a vision of forms. But before long, my light and vision of forms vanished. It occurred to me, what is the cause, what is the reason why my light and vision of forms vanish? It occurred to me, loss of focus arose in me. And because of that, my samadhi fell away. When samadhi falls away, the light and vision of forms vanish. I'll make sure that neither doubt nor loss of focus will arise in me again. Loss of focus is amanasikara. Is that right, Freddie? Yeah. Have you got it there? Yeah. Amanasikara. Okay, good. So, Okay. So amanasikara. So amanasikara means like lack of attention. Yeah. So when you are doing the samadhi meditation or this kind of meditation, you have to pay attention to the object. And if you lose your attention on the object, then of course the meditation will collapse. Yeah. So attention means you are staying with the object. But sometimes things can happen. Yeah. Maybe you start thinking about something. Or maybe there's a sound outside and your attention goes somewhere else. Maybe your attention goes to the body. Maybe the body is getting at this point, the body is already really fading away. The body hardly exists at this point. When you enter the jhana, the body is completely gone. It cannot exist in the jhana. But here it is maybe a little bit remnant left. And if there is maybe you can feel it a bit. And you get distracted. This is what it means. Yeah. You get sidetracked. Noises can be a problem. Even though the noises are kind of far away, they can kind of enter the samadhi at this point. And so the mind is distracted. And that is what this means. Yeah? So you don't allow distractions to come. You're not interested in the world outside. Why do you want to think about anything? You just experiences the greatest happiness in your life. Why go somewhere else? Yeah, so you kind of tell yourself that staying with the object is what you should be doing, staying with the light. So you don't have amanasikara in the future. You don't have this, what is it? Loss of focus that you don't have again. So you just enjoy the happiness, enjoy the bliss, you trust that it is doing well, and you carry on with that. Don't take any interest in anything else. Then the next one, you have, while meditating, dullness and drowsiness arose in me. I will make sure that neither doubt, nor loss of focus, nor dullness and drowsiness will arise in me. Yeah, so dullness and drowsiness, this can be like a very faint kind of dullness and drowsiness, not the usual kind of dullness and drowsiness, but like a very faint, like the energy goes down a little bit in the mind, that kind of dullness and drowsiness. And so you feel that you're losing a bit of energy. Yeah? And when the energy goes down, that light depends on energy, because the light is very bright. And only if the mind is really powerful and energetic will you sustain that light in the mind. So here that there's a loss of that brightness, a loss of the energy of the mind. So dullness and drowsiness comes in. Why does it come in? Well, one reason is maybe that you are not really enjoying it enough. You're not kind of, you are kind of, maybe you have done it for too long or too minutes. After a while, the mind kind of losing a little bit of interest or whatever. And so you become a bit dull. You kind of get too used to it maybe. Yeah, especially if you are a very good meditator, you do it a lot, then maybe at some point you lose a little bit of interest and the mind becomes slightly dull, and then after a while everything fades away. And so you have to renew your interest in the meditation object, renew your interest in what is going on. Kind of remind yourself, wow, this is really meaningful and very powerful. It's kind of strange because these kind of experiences are not only are they blissful, not only are they peaceful, but they're also very meaningful. It feels like you are kind of returning to some real reality. Yeah, this feels much more real than the ordinary life that we have. It feels more real. It feels like you are much more stable. You are more solid. It feels like you are present because mindfulness is so powerful. Yes, this has a reality to it that normally you don't have. And it's a feeling of this is reality. That's kind of the feeling you have. It's very, very meaningful. This is the real me. Everything else is kind of delusion compared to this. So these things are incredibly, there are so many things with these experiences that are so powerful. So once you have them, and this is only part of the way, it becomes even more meaningful later on. So you can imagine what this is like. And then, of course, you don't have any dullness or drowsiness anymore, because you remind yourself of the meaning and of why these things are so. Your interest in these things becomes strong again. While meditating, terror arose in me, and because of that, my samadhi fell away. When samadhi falls away, the light and vision of forms vanish. Suppose a person was traveling along a road, and killers were to spring out at them from both sides. They would feel terrified. And because of that, in the same way, terror arose in me. I'll make sure that neither doubt, nor loss of focus, nor dullness and drowsiness, nor terror will arise in me again. So this is a bit concerning, isn't it? They have two killers springing out from either side of the road. Wow, if this is what my meditation is about, then wow, I'm not sure if I want to go there. And why? What is happening here? How can the Buddha use such an incredibly strong simile to show what might happen in meditation? And the reason is because when we go very deep in this way, we're starting to have to give up things that are very, very close to us. What we're giving up here especially is the ability to do things. It's as that the will is going. We are feeling more and more locked into this thing, as if there's no movement anymore. And because the will is such a fundamental part of who we take ourselves to be, We are the doers very often, right? We do things in our life. The doing gives us a feeling of existing. Yeah, we do things. Some people are very active, hyperactive. And one reason why people are hyperactive is because they identify with the doer. I am the creator, the maker, the doer in life, the one who gets things done. Yeah, people identify with this. And if that gets completely eliminated, it is as if you are killed in a sense. You're not actually killed, but you disappear. And you're not willing to let that go. Even though letting it go is wonderful, even though letting it go is the best thing that ever happened to you, it looks scary from the... If you go to the other side, it looks great. You understand how good it is. But from this side, it kind of looks scary because it looks like something that is yours is disappearing. Yeah, it's a bit like the talking yesterday about being stingy. It's about the stingy person trying to give a gift. Yeah, it's very hard for the stingy person to give a gift. Yeah, they feel terror if they have to give something because for them, holding on to things in their life is so important. Stingy people are literally afraid of giving things because they feel that they are losing. And this is much more deeper than that, but it's a similar kind of idea. You cannot let go of something that you take fundamentally to be yours. And so it's like a killer. Someone is out to kill you. This is kind of what this is about. So meditation is always like that. Every time you become more peaceful, you're giving something up. Yeah, because that is the reason why you become peaceful, because you have left something behind. You left some desire behind. You left some thinking behind. And every time it can look a bit scary, but we all know that when you become peaceful, it's far better. So actually, the thinking mind is a nuisance. So when you go beyond the attachment, you realize what the benefit it actually is. And this is exactly the same thing here. So this is what happens. So how do we overcome that? We overcome it gradually meditating, doing it again, going a little bit deeper every time. And in this way, understanding that actually there's nothing to be afraid of. In fact, the exact opposite. There's everything to be gained by this sort of meditation. So you learn how to deal with these issues. All right. So you will terror, yeah. So you will make sure that neither doubt, nor loss of focus, nor dullness and drowsiness, nor terror will arise in me again. While meditating, excitement arose in me, and because of that, my samadhi fell away. When samadhi falls away, the light and vision of forms vanish. Suppose a person were looking for an entrance to a hidden treasure, and all at once they come across 5 entrances. They would feel excited because of that. In the same way, excitement arose in me. I'll make sure that neither doubt, nor loss of focus, nor dullness and drowsiness, nor terror, nor excitement will arise in me again. And this excitement is what happens. Your meditation is going well, and you're thinking, yeah, now it's happening. Now it's happening, almost there. Yeah, many people have this experience. Wow, I can feel this happening now. And the moment you think that, bang, it's gone, back to square one. Snake and ladders, you fall down all the ladders, you bow down to the bottom again. So this is, because meditation is a bit like that, yeah? It is very, very interesting. There are all of these remarkable things. It's the greatest journey of discovery that anyone can ever be on. You don't want to travel around the world, no need to go anywhere. The real exciting journey happens right here at the Kaduri Center. You close your eyes and you go within. Or it happens in your apartment at home even if you get some good meditation. Or wherever you sit down and close your eyes and you get into deep meditation. That is where the most interesting journey ever can happen. No need to go anywhere exciting. There's nothing in the world that is exciting anyway. Yeah, I don't know where you think you want to go to Paris to see the Eiffel Tower. Just a bunch of steel. Yeah, it's not really interesting at all. It's true. It actually doesn't even look very nice. I have been to the Eiffel Tower. Big deal. Or I remember Ajahn Brahmali said, "Yeah, you all want to go traveling. You want to see the Great Wall of China." Yeah, the Great Wall of China, one of these magnificent structures in humanity. Ajahn says, don't go to see the Great Wall of China. Go to the boundary of Bodhinyana Monastery. Look at the Bodhinyana Monastery wall. That's equally good. Yeah, that's good enough. The point is, one wall is larger than the other one. One is longer than the other one. One is more kind of amazing. Actually, it doesn't make that much difference. Yeah, it's just a bunch of stones in a long line. That's really what it is. I apologize for anyone I offend by these words. But the point is just that it's not that any of these things are bad or anything like that. The point is just that it is all part of the five-sense world. And the five-sense world can only give so much meaning. Yeah, it's just variations on the theme, variations on the same thing. Yeah, okay, Chinese food, French cuisine, yeah, or whatever. It's food. Yeah, okay, it tastes a bit different, but actually, it's not. So it doesn't make that much difference. And so this is the idea that this here really is different. This is fundamentally different, fundamentally more meaningful. Yeah, and that is also why it is so extraordinarily exciting and so interesting. If you want to be on an adventure, anyone who wants to be on a real adventure in their life, there should be meditators. That's where the real adventure happens. And this is the most exciting adventure anyone can have. That's why it is worthy of all the effort and all the investment and all the intentions that we can possibly put into it. And for that reason, it is also exciting. But remember, to avoid that excitement when things are going well, it is useful to remember that you never know whether things are going to happen or not. You may think, oh, now it's going to happen, but actually you have no idea because these things are very uncertain. So being excited doesn't make any sense because you have no idea what's going to happen next. The other thing that I would recommend you to do if you find yourself getting excited is to remember that experiences are never exactly the same. They always vary a little bit. So you are excited because you think you know what's going to happen, but actually something else is going to happen anyway. So what are you excited about? You're excited about something that doesn't exist. It's not going to happen. So forget about excitement. Yeah, just enjoy whatever you have. If you're doing well in your meditation, you already have some grounds for enjoyment with whatever is there. And then just have an open mind. See what happens next. Have that Zen mind. Famous book written back in the 1970s, Zen mind, beginner's mind. Chan mind, beginner's mind. Chan and Zen the same thing, right? So Chan mind, beginner mind. So yeah, this idea that you're coming to it with a fresh perspective, with fresh ideas, not a preconceived idea of what is going to happen. And then you will never get excited because you're open to the mystery of what happens in the mind. These are some ways of overcoming these excitements about things. So you just stay cool, just observe, enjoy the ride. You are passive. You are the passenger on the train. You're not the driver anyway. So you have no idea where the driver is going to take you, so no need to get excitement. The next stop might be a nuclear dump, yeah? So if you're going to nuclear dump, not so exciting here. So you don't know, yeah, what meditation is gonna lead you. Usually it's nice, but sometimes not so nice. All right. So that is the excitement, or rather the lack of excitement, just the coolness of the heart. So then, while meditating, discomfort arose in me. I will make sure that none of these things arise in me again in the future. So discomfort here can be a bit similar to what we had before about non-attention or loss of attention. Tutulla is the Pali word, and it can mean any kind of discomfort, like discomfort in the mind maybe some intruding thoughts or something arising in the mind which shouldn't be there. It can be discomfort, maybe hearing something. Yeah, that is kind of, you don't really want to hear anything. Anything that kind of disturbs the meditation can be a discomfort. The word dutulla also means coarseness in Pali. So most of these discomforts, they will be coarse compared to what you are experiencing. So when you're experiencing something that is coarse, it is going to be uncomfortable because what you are experiencing now is refined. The coarse things are going to seem uncomfortable because of that. And so any kind of coarseness coming through the five senses, starting in the mind, will be part of this. And so again, you just go back, put your attention on the nimitta, the light in the mind, enjoy the brightness, enjoy the peace. And as you do that, your attention on that discomfort, the discomfort falls away and you're back on track again. It all really comes back to this idea of paying attention to what is interesting, what is beautiful, what is powerful in the meditation. While meditating, excessive energy arose in me. And because of that, my immersion, my samadhi fell away. When samadhi falls away, the light and vision of forms vanish. Suppose a person were to grip a quail too tightly in their hands, and it would die right there. Yeah, you make sure that none of these things arise. A quail is like a little bird, right? And if you grab that little bird with your hands, it dies, and your meditation dies also because you are gripping it too strongly. And so the idea here is like with the meditation, you want to have that very neutral observing. You observe, but you don't use power, you don't use the will to force your mind onto the object. You're just present, you're just aware, you're the passenger again. You're just sitting in that chair after a long day's work, just relaxing and really enjoying the relaxing at this time because it's so beautiful. You don't do anything. The doing of the mind leads to this is an excess kind of effort or an excess kind of energy in this case. So you allow things to take its own course, to go gradually according to its own nature. That is the right way in this particular case. While meditating, overly lax energy arose in me, and because of that my samadhi fell away. When the more immersion falls away, etc., etc., and you try to avoid all of these kind of things. And this time is the person, they grip the quail too loosely, and it would fly out of their hands. And so there is still this idea of focusing on the object. Yeah. So you cannot just become completely complacent either. As always, there is that middle way, not holding on and not just kind of whatever, completely complacent. Yeah. So you stay with the thing, and that is really the only effort you need at this particular time. Enjoy what is there. Yeah, middle way in effort. This idea of middle way in effort is something you see in a number of places in the suttas. While meditating, longing arose in me. And so then you want to avoid longing as well. And longing is here not kind of sensual longing, because the sensuality has already been put away largely a long time ago. So this kind of longing is more like the longing maybe to go forward in meditation. Yeah, the longing, oh, when shall I become an arahant? That kind of longing. Yeah, or okay, if you're a bit more humble, when shall I become a stream enterer, right? When shall I attain jhana? Yeah, these kind of things. You're longing for something in the future. And the idea then is to, instead of longing for things, enjoy what you have. Be content. Contentment is one of the factors that make meditation work really well. Be satisfied with what you have. Don't long for the future. There's nowhere to go. There's just enjoyment of what you have. And the weird thing is that the more you enjoy what you have, the more mindful you are, yeah, the better the meditation will be as a consequence of that. So just stay with the present. Enjoy everything. That's always the fast path. Everything is about staying with what you have, bringing in that maximum amount of mindfulness. That is the idea here. So most of these defilements that we are looking at, they are related to the 5 hindrances in one way or another. Yeah, we have seen kind of the longing is maybe a little bit related to sensual desire, maybe more to restlessness perhaps, depending a little bit on what it is. Some of these other, like discomfort, quite likely related to sensual desire. It may not sound like it, but discomfort in the body is a sensual thing. Yeah, it has to do with the 5 senses, and so it actually has to do with that. Excessive energy is usually restlessness. Lax energy and dullness is basically the third hindrance. You can see that relate to the 5 hindrances. It's just a more kind of refined division than the usual one. Okay, while meditating, perceptions of diversity arose in me. So you want to avoid the perceptions of diversity. This means that instead of having one nimitta, maybe there's many nimittas. Maybe you see like a cloud of something rather than seeing like one round thing. So the things become more complicated in the mind rather than simple. What you want is a simple disc, simple circular kind of thing. Very, very simple. The simpler the nimitta is, the more powerful it is. The more diversity there is, the more shapes there are, the more things there are, the less powerful it is to take you into samadhi. Because samadhi is about simplicity. It's about focus. It's about unifying the mind, not spreading the mind out. Okay, so that actually ends those 10 upakilesas right there. So that is the what they are. So now you are abandoning everything. So now it gets really exciting. What happens next? Yeah, once these things kind of these defilements are abandoned. So let's just carry on a little bit longer to see what happens next. So, while meditating, heedful, keen, and resolute, I perceive both light and vision of forms. But before, this is one more here. Okay, sorry. It occurred to me, what is the cause, what is the reason why my light and vision of forms vanished? It occurred to me, excessive concentration on forms arose in me, and because of that, my immersion fell away. When immersion or samadhi falls away, the light and the vision of forms vanish. I'll make sure that neither doubt, nor loss of focus, nor dullness and drowsiness, nor terror, nor excitement, nor discomfort, nor excessive energy, nor overly lax energy, nor longing, nor perception of forms, nor excessive concentration of forms will arise in me again. So excessive concentration on forms, this means something like staring too much at the form, and it probably means that you're not enjoying the light and the power of the light enough, and you're becoming too preoccupied by the shape of things, when actually the shape should really fade into the background over time, and ideally eventually all that remains is a kind of brightness and light, or that at least is the main focus that you have. Yeah, so you're not so concerned about shapes and forms. That's not the main point. The main point is the combined attention on both at the same time. So then the Buddha goes on. When I understood that doubt is a corruption of mind, I gave it up. When I understood that loss of focus, dullness and drowsiness, terror, excitement, discomfort, excessive energy, overly lax energy, longing, perception of diversity, and excessive focus on forms are corruptions of the mind, I gave them up. And now you know how to give them up. Yeah, you understand the causes, and then you make sure, you kind of do the counter thing that makes sure that it doesn't happen again in the future. You focus on the light and the brightness and these kind of things. While meditating, diligent, keen, or heedful, keen, and resolute, I perceived light, but did not see forms. Or as if saw forms, but I did not see light. And this went on for a whole night, a whole day, even a whole night and day. I thought, what is the cause? What is the reason for this? It occurred to me, when I don't focus on the foundation of the forms, but focus on the foundation of the light, then I perceive light and do not see forms. But when I don't focus on the foundation of lights, but focus on the foundation of forms, then I see forms and do not perceive light. And this goes on for a whole night, a whole day, even a whole night and day. And I think the word foundation here actually is nimitta, the basis for forms. And what is that basis? Well, that basis is just an interest in those things. So if your interest is in the forms, well then that is what you will tend to see. And if your interest is in the light, you will see that. And so the idea here is that we want both. Yeah, you want both the forms and the light. That is the ideal way for meditation to move forward. Some people talk about the mind being very bright and full of light. That is kind of nice. But if it's just light, there isn't really anything clearly to focus on. It's more difficult to know how to focus your attention. And if there is just forms, but no light, then you can focus on something, but you're lacking the joy, the energy, the power of the meditation object. But when the two come together, the power of the light together with the ability to focus on a form, those two coming together, that is where meditation really happens. And that's why ideally you want like a disk of light, yeah, like the sun or something in your meditation. That's the most powerful way for this to happen. So this tells you, yeah, that both of these are important aspects of meditation. You want both to be present. While meditating, heedful, keen, and resolute, I perceived limited light and saw limited forms. I perceived limitless light and saw limitless forms. And this went on for a whole night, a whole day, even a whole night and day. I thought, what is the cause? What is the reason for this? And it occurred to me, when my samadhi is limited, then my vision is limited. And with limited vision, I perceive limited light and see limited forms. But when my samadhi is limitless, then my vision is limitless. And with limited vision, I perceive limitless light and see limitless forms. And this goes on for a whole night, a whole day, and even a whole night and day. So limited samadhi just means that there are still some barriers in your mind, some limits. It hasn't been developed fully to encompass everything. You focus like on a limited area or a limited thing. But eventually you kind of allow it to be called all-encompassing. And then it becomes samadhi without limits. The talk in the suttas about having a samadhi that covers certain areas and things, but this is like something that is doesn't have that kind of limits to it. And so you keep on developing it, and the way to overcome that is simply just to keep on developing it until you enter something like a jhana state, and that is usually where the limits are completely overcome. So, after understanding that doubt, loss of focus, dullness and drowsiness, terror, excitement, discomfort, excessive energy, overly lax energy, longing, perception of diversity, and excessive staring on forms are corruptions of the mind, I had given them up. I thought, I've given up my mental corruptions. Now let me develop samadhi in 3 ways. I develop samadhi while placing the mind and keeping it connected. Without placing the mind, but just keeping it connected. Without placing the mind or keeping it connected. With rapture, without rapture, with pleasure, and with equanimity. And these here, they are basically the jhanas, but seen from a different point of view. So now, finally, you are ready. After all of this, you're ready to enter the most profound kind of samadhi, the jhana states themselves. So you have the jhana states that is here called placing the mind and keeping it connected. This is vitakka vichara. Vitakka is the placing of the mind moving towards the bliss, and keeping it connected is the vichara, the kind of slight holding on to them of the mind. This is like the first jhana state. This is just another way of thinking about them. Without placing the mind, avitakka, just keeping it connected, savichara, having vichara but not placing it. So you're kind of moving down more and more powerful states of samadhi. These are going through the jhanas. Now it's like, this is like, so anyway, this is kind of way beyond what anyone ever experiences in their life. This is kind of really, really far away. And then without placing the mind or keeping it connected, now we enter the second jhana. The other one was like 1.5 jhana. This is the second jhana. Sometimes there's 5 jhanas rather than 4. And in this sutta, there's like the 5. And then you have the one with rapture. That is the with piti. So this is the second jhana. The first jhana are with rapture. And without rapture, that's the third jhana and the fourth jhana. With pleasure, that's the third jhana and the second jhana. And then with equanimity, that's the third and the fourth usually. So you have kind of names, different way of classifying these jhanas. And so this is what the Buddha does after overcoming all of these defilements, stage by stage. And then, what happens next? It's very exciting what happens next. When I had developed samadhi in these ways, then knowledge and vision arose in me. My freedom is unshakable. This is my last rebirth. Now there are no more future lives. Doesn't say anything about vipassana practice. Doesn't say anything about anything else. You just go through the jhanas, and when they are powerful enough, then based on the right view at the very beginning of the Eightfold Path, then this happens. And you become enlightened. And even if you don't want to become enlightened, you will become enlightened. Too late to turn around. Of course, you will want it, yeah, because this is the highest happiness. So otherwise, you have to throw out the highest happiness for something else. That doesn't make any sense. And this is what the Buddha said. Satisfied Anuruddha was happy with what the Buddha said. You better be satisfied after that, right? Otherwise, you a pretty kind of awesome discourse. So that is the Upakilesa Sutta for you. And this is kind of the idea of meditation on the Buddhist path and many of the little details of meditation. And it's really, I don't know, this sutta is so rich in so many details. The details here about meditation are almost unparalleled in the suttas. You don't really find any other suttas anywhere else quite like this. And I didn't talk so much about the background to the sutta because we only had so much time. It's amazing how much we have done on this little short retreat. All of these things are covered. There was only one sutta I didn't talk about, but I have talked about that one indirectly anyway, and I usually teach it on all retreats, so many of you will have heard it before. So this is what is waiting for you. Yeah, so all you have to do now is to be diligent, to do the practice, and then these things are available. If you have a human mind, and if you don't have a human mind, you probably shouldn't be here, so I'm assuming you have a human mind. So if you have a human mind, then these things are available. The only prerequisite is that you are a human being, so you can't be a zombie. Zombies are out, but human beings are in. And you can't have done one of the anantarika kammas, like killing your parents or something like that. Otherwise, this is there for available. And it's just a matter of how we apply the path and our ability to apply the path. So that becomes your job, to apply these teachings. And people often ask after the end of this has been a very kind of short retreat, but I think still really nice. Yeah, retreats can come in all kind of lengths and all kind of shapes and different ways. And I think this is still very, very useful. And some of you even had some nice meditation during this retreat. So that's wonderful to hear that. And now, when you go back, people often ask, how can I go back and make sure that my meditation continues? And the answer is, you can't. Is it possible? Yeah? The meditation and the peace and the things that you have on retreat are not sustainable in ordinary life. And so when you go back, you do the best you can, but don't try to hold on to anything that you have achieved here, because you will only get frustrated. Now you have to allow it to let go until next time around, when you come back and you either here at the Kaduri Center or in Jhana Grove or wherever else you go, you have the opportunity to do these things again next time around. So remember, all you really have to remember is that to enable this meditation to become more powerful or to work better next time is to put in all the foundations. And these foundations for meditation are just the things we have been talking about all the way through. To live well, to do your very best in reducing your usual habitual reactions to the world. Understand the importance of these things. And this is kind of one of the really things that make this whole path work, is understanding the significance and importance of these things. Because that is the right view. The view that this matters. This is all that matters at the end of the day. Yes, we have to do the ordinary things in life. We have to work. We have to be with our family. Of course, you have to do those. But you start doing those very things in a new way, in a way that is more spiritual, in a way that actually aligns with the teachings of the Buddha. And it's this beautiful double benefit. On the one hand, your ordinary life becomes better because you become basically a more balanced and better person, on the one hand. And on the other hand, it also improves your spiritual life. And so everything we do is an improvement in all aspects of your life. And that is why this is such a marvelous and amazing thing. So keep on doing the right thing. Never give up. If you stumble a little bit, you go wrong, try again. Ask yourself why you stumbled. Why didn't it work out? Often the reason why you stumble is because the habits from the past are so strong that it actually is impossible for you to overcome those habits straight away. So expect to stumble. Don't be surprised if you stumble. And then learn from it. Don't be angry and upset with yourself, because that just makes it worse. You just, okay, I stumbled. That's to be expected. Now, why did I stumble? Okay, this is the reason. I became angry with this person. Why did I become angry with them? They don't really understand anyway. I shouldn't be, no point in getting angry. Next time, you don't become angry with them because you have understood that was a silly thing to do this time around. And then you build up, build up, build up. Come back to the Dhamma. Listen to some inspiring sutta class or inspiring talk by somebody, someone who lifts you up, someone who tells a few jokes. You know who I have in mind. Someone who tells some nice stories. Someone who has the presence to make you feel at ease and relaxed. Yeah, the kind of some of the great meditation masters in our world, and then you will be on the right track, and you will be able to sustain and to keep on persevering in your practice. So I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to do the last sutta because it's nice, but it's not the right time for that. So let's just do a little bit of meditation together, and then we can do some Q&A, and then we can do other stuff or whatever afterwards. Yeah. Okay, so let's do some meditation together. Actually, I think probably we should have a little bit of a break first of all, actually, because we're going for an hour already. Is that a good idea? Yeah, let's have a 10-minute break because it gets too much, basically. Okay. So just again, as you start out, just come back to always to the foundations of meditation. Just starting out just by relaxing and allowing the mindfulness to arise again, to become quite strong. And it always happens when you close your eyes and you kind of withdraw inwards, removing yourself a little bit from the impulses of the world. That is where mindfulness gains more clarity. So always just start out in the same way with meditation. It becomes the foundation for everything we do afterwards. And again, now try to guide your mind towards understanding some of these qualities that we are developing on this path. And always, if you're going to do the metta meditation, it's important to have an appreciation for the people we have metta towards. So bring up a person who you respect for the spiritual qualities, and just count those qualities. Remember what they mean. Remember what they are as experiences. Build up this picture in your mind. You can only have metta towards someone you feel positive towards. And then this is a starting point of that positive perception. And once that perception is built up, then you wish them well. May you be well. May you be happy. And now you can bring up the perception of one of the four directions from here and say the northern direction. It doesn't matter so much where it is. And then remember that in this world there are so many people with such good and beautiful spiritual qualities of kindness and generosity and compassion. Often very ordinary people. The ordinary people in the world are often underestimated. So may all those people in the north, with all these delightful qualities, may you be well and happy. can turn your mind to a different direction, say the eastern direction perhaps. And if you wish, you can now imagine also the devas in that direction. These beings who had lived very good lives have been reborn there as a consequence of their beautiful spiritual qualities. All those devas, including the noble ones who live in the deva realms, may you all be well. May you be happy. And now you can imagine, if you like, the whole planet Earth in your mind's eye, the green, the blue, the brown. It's a beautiful planet with lots of remarkable beings of all kinds. And imagine this planet bathing in a golden light coming from the metta for people who practice the right way, who give a sense of security to all the beings here. And remember, all the beings, among them, there are so many with good qualities. There are so many vulnerable beings too, like the animals in this realm. And as you see this realm in your mind's eye, wish all these beings, may you be well, may you be happy. And now just to coming towards the end once again. Before we do that, just also take this opportunity to thank all your fellow retreatants here today. Everyone who's been part of this retreat, everyone who is so meaningful on your spiritual path. Thank you everyone for taking part in this. Thank you for being my valuable Kalyana Mitta and spiritual friend. I wish every one of you, I wish you well, I wish you happiness. And again, just come back to your breath just for a few moments. And one more time, just take a few moments to just evaluate your meditation. How do you feel now? And if you do feel a sense of peace, a sense of good qualities, ask yourself one more time how these things come about. Okay, everyone. So that is the end of the meditation for now. And let's do some final questions and answers and see what happens as to finish off this retreat. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Dear Ajahn, thank you for your inspiring teachings and being a role model for me as a disciple of the Buddha. I would like to report to you and share with our spiritual friends the power of confession. I confessed some stupid things I did in the past yesterday, then my mind got clearer and lighter. I naturally to chant Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, relating to your teachings of the Sutta. Then I dreamed of a large garden with shelter and pipes watering the plants. And I shared insight with others in a dream. I felt my life was refreshed. Could you please also share how to confess with all and how to avoid making the same mistake in the future? Thank you so much. Okay, so this is about the importance of confession in Buddhism, especially among monastics. This is what we do usually quite regularly because it's part of the Patimokkha ceremonies and these kind of things when we chant these rules and regulations, especially in Theravada Buddhism. And the idea of confession is just to clear the mind of any kind of past business, any feelings that you have made a mistake. And it's a beautiful way of overcoming the sense of guilt and remorse and these kind of things. And according to the confession formula we do in Theravada Buddhism, you confess what you have done, and then the other person you confess with say, do you see? And you say, I see. In other words, I recognize what I've done. And then they say, will you restrain yourself for the future? And you say, I will restrain myself for the future. And so the idea is to clear the past and then to make a new commitment for the future, for living better as a consequence. And it is useful because often when we hold on to these things without confessing them, they kind of fester as a wound in the mind, and they never really clear up properly. And this is a way of letting go of things from the past. And everyone has made mistakes, and so there is nothing really to be embarrassed about because everyone has done kind of things that they regret in their life. And so that's just the way, what it means to be a human being. It means to make, part of it means to make mistakes. That's the way, and this is the way forward when you do these things. So thank you for that question. Okay. Dear Ajahn, can one get into a jhana without a nimitta? Don't know. Maybe you can. Sometimes you can get into jhanas maybe by doing more like a reflection. For example, the talk in the suttas about getting into other kinds of samadhi, like something called the animitta samadhi or sunyata samadhi, emptiness samadhi. And these kind of samadhis are often achieved by reflecting on a theme, like you're reflecting of emptiness. Everything is empty, and everything is empty of what belongs to me, empty of me, and not empty of me. Everything is, how does it go again? Just emptiness and emptiness of what belongs to me. That's basically the idea. And by just contemplating that, the mind sometimes can go into a samadhi. Is there a nimitta in those situations? I don't know. Maybe there is sometimes. I don't think there has to be in those kind of situations always. But for a full jhana state, I would say the normal path is via a nimitta, and it is because you need that stillness, and the way that the mind perceives stillness is through light. Yeah, that's how the mind perceives these things. And so because of that, I think something like that is required. Something with a lot of energy, brightness, joy, yeah, because that is what is basically happening at this stage. We were talking yesterday about the, doing the Buddhanusati, the various recollections, and through those recollections, it talks about the various kinds of joy, pamujja, and then piti, and then pasadi, and sukha, and samadhi, and all of these things, all that joy manifests in the mind as light, as energy, as powerful mindfulness, and all of these kind of things. So something like that should really happen for it to be a proper jhana. Okay. Okay, I often share some Buddhist values with family and friends. For example, be easily contented and you will be happy. Sometimes my friends say, that's a loser's statement. How do you respond to that? Ajahn Brahm had this book, and he said that the purpose of the Buddhist path is to be the greatest loser. The more you lose, the better it is. Yeah, Buddhist path is about getting rid of stuff. And that's kind of what losing is. Yeah, losing is getting rid of stuff. So remember what the Buddha said, that whatever people in the world think is suffering is happiness for the noble ones. Whatever people in the world think is happiness, the noble ones think is suffering. And so it's the opposite. Yeah. So when if they think you are a loser, what is that kind of inversion of perception? Yeah, they basically don't know what they're talking about, and that's kind of the problem. The happiest people in the world are the people who have the least. The Buddha had almost nothing. Yeah, the Buddha lived this incredibly simple life, and he was the happiest person probably that has ever existed. Ajahn Brahm often tells the story of his own teacher, Ajahn Chah, and at one time he was in his kuti, and Ajahn Chah was also a very happy person. And when he came into his kuti, there was nothing there. It's completely empty. There was like a bowl in the corner and maybe a spare robe or something. There was nothing. Yeah, it's completely empty. One of the greatest spiritual masters in the modern era who live in this incredible simplicity here. You go to see how Ajahn Brahm lives. Ajahn Brahm, he lives in a cave. Yeah, has anyone been to Ajahn Brahm's cave? Some of you probably been to Ajahn Brahm's cave. Have you been to his cave, Della? Yeah, okay. Been to his cave, okay. So you go to his cave, man-made cave. And in this man-made cave, there is like a little mattress on the floor, and there's a few kind of bats on the wall. Usually there's bats, because Ajahn Brahm kind of is famous for liking bats, and have a few bats on the wall, and someone bought a cricket bat. He has to put a cricket bat on the wall as well. And later on these were, and it's kind of nice, they stay in Ajahn Brahm's cave for a while, they get the vibe of Ajahn Brahm's cave, and then later on we auction them off once they kind of to be used for building something nice. So that's kind of a nice way of using these things. So that's kind of a good way. So people don't understand what it means to be truly happy. They don't understand where these things come from. They don't understand that craving is like an irritation in the mind. It is like a drive that drives you on, ever restless to do new things. You can never relax. Contentment just means you relax. That's really all it means. You can really be at ease. That's what it really means. And everyone ultimately wants to be at ease, rather than being run around like a slave where craving is in charge. They haven't really thought properly about things. They haven't considered life properly. They are still really ignorant if they say these kind of things. Yeah, so you can just shrug your shoulders and say, okay, don't tell them that they're ignorant, but just realize that that is the case. Yeah, and then but it's good that you sow the seed, because when you say something like this, maybe there will be a seed there, and maybe they reject your statement straight away, but maybe later on they think, wait a minute, maybe they had a point. Yeah, there's something interesting there, something going on. But the best way to convince your friends and your family members or whatever that you are doing something worthwhile is to change yourself, to become a better person. And when they see that you are changing, you are more happy, you are more content, you have more compassion, you have more understanding, then they will take more of an interest. It took me a long time as a Buddhist monk before my parents took me seriously. First of all, they just dismissed me. They thought I was just being rebellious or something like that. But eventually they started, after I've been a monk for about 10 years, they started to kind of, okay, maybe we should listen to what he has to say. And then they did start to listen, yeah? And then we did meditation together and all this kind of thing, which is kind of nice. But it takes time. You have to be very patient. All right. Dear Ajahn, thank you for the teaching of the suttas. The noble search is exceptionally important and inspiring. It reminds me to reflect why, when I am subject to old age, sickness and death, I still search for things which are also subject to old age, sickness and death. Why not search for the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path of the cessation of suffering? In Perth, where and when and how often do you give talks of the suttas? Any classes by you? So if you go to the BSWA website in Perth, they have hundreds and thousands of, there's so many talks there, it's ridiculous. And if you want to listen to my teaching specifically, to search on my name, just put my name into that. They have their own YouTube channel, which is the Buddha Society of WA. And so just go there and just search on my name and you will find all the talks there. So yeah, so quite easy. But yeah. So one of the things we did there, which is very nice, I did mention that the other day, is the whole bunch of teachings on the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. Yeah, the longest sutta on the Buddha's passing away, which is exceptionally beautiful, many nice teachings, a bit historical material, etc., etc., and especially exciting when you're going on a pilgrimage to India. Yeah, that's kind of the nice thing. Yeah, right, Deidre, you're going to India soon, right? Okay, so that's really cool. So that information we get from those suttas, they are very helpful on these pilgrimage because they are a bit more historical in nature, and so you will recognize those places when you go to India. So you're going to walk in the footsteps of the Buddha. That's kind of cool. The Buddha was walking there. Imagine. Whoa. That's really interesting. Yeah. Okay. The last question for this retreat. So this better be a good question. Okay. So this is the last one. Okay. Why does beginning always lead to ending? Thanks for giving this retreat. See you, dear Ajahn, soon. Okay, that's a nice way of ending the retreat. So that's good. Why does beginning always lead to an ending? Yeah, so this is the insight of the stream, and Yang Kinshi, or how does it go again? Kanchi Samudadamang Sabbang Tang Nirodadamangti. Thank you, Freddie. I'm glad I have my Pali students here. That's good. Yang Kinshi Samudadamang. I think I'm getting tired now. It's coming to the end. And so why is that the case? And the reason why it has the case is because nothing has an inherent essence. Nothing is permanent. Nothing stands and remains on its own. So something that arises comes into existence. It means the reason why it arises means that it wasn't permanent and inherent in the first place. That is why it must also cease eventually. Yeah, nothing that comes into existence can stay forever. The fact that it arises means that it must cease. And in reality, everything is like that. There's nothing that you can experience that was always going to be there. There is no such experience that is permanent. Yeah, that just doesn't exist. It cannot exist by definition because all experiences, they rise somewhere and then they disappear again. There's nothing permanent in our the way we experience the world. Everything arises. Everything passes away, moving around, changing, and while it remains, it changes while it remains. So movement, anicca. In the Anapanasati Sutta, they talk about you have like 4 stages of insight: anicca, viraga, nirodha, and patinissagga. The Anapanasati Sutta has 16 stages. The last 4: anicca nupassi, viraga nupassi, nirodha nupassi, patinissagga nupassi. Anupassi means to contemplate or to see or to regard. And so first of all, you see anicca. Anicca just means change. Things are changing. Your body is changing, getting older and older and older until one day, bang, that's it, finished. That's kind of, so getting older. And then there is viraga. Viraga means that something is fading away. It's like when you meditate and you become peaceful and the body kind of becomes more and more distant. The body is like fading away. and all your senses are fading away. You're losing your hearing in meditation, yeah? Everything is kind of disappearing. And then fading away, and the culmination of fading away is nirodha, cessation, completely gone. So you enter a jhana state, and there's nothing more of the body or the five senses. You enter a different reality. And then finally there's patinisagga. Patinisagga is when you see this process of nirodha, and you understand it, and then you let go, relinquish craving, and you never crave for those things again, ever again in the future. So this is the Buddhist path. Everything that begins must also come to an end. That is how Buddhism is all about, and that is how it works. So there you are. So that's how it is. So good. Any last questions from anyone? Anyone want to say anything? I guess we're allowed to. Noble silence finished. Is that right? Noble silence finished. I determine hereby noble silence is finished. So any last comments from anyone? Anyone want to say anything? Everyone is happy? If you're not happy, too bad. You had the chance. No, just messing around. Of course, it's okay. Yvonne, do you want to say something? No? Okay. All right. Good. There's no point in saying anything. There's no point in talking too much. We've just been saying that silence is good. So good. So that's it. So I wish you all the very best. I hope you have success in your endeavors. Also the venerables over here. Nice to have you both here. And hope you have lots of happiness and success and lots of peace in your spiritual practice. And I hope to see you again, because the people I see again, I know they are the ones who will gradually make progress and gradually get somewhere. The idea of persevering and committing to the spiritual path is so important. That is the only way you're going to be able to move forward. So that's it. Finished. Okay. Excellent. Wonderful. Blessing. Transfer merit. Okay. Transfer merit. Okay. So we're going to, yes, thank you. So we're going to transfer the merit, first of all. So the idea here is that we, especially to those departed ones, family members, etc., who have passed away. So when we think this, do say these words, and if you don't know them, that doesn't matter, you can just follow along. And just imagine that you are telling your relatives that you are giving whatever goodness you have done now or during this retreat or whenever, this is also to make them happy and to transfer to them, to support them wherever they are. This is the traditional Sri Lankan way of doing this. Edang men yati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Edang men yati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Edang men yati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so I'll give you a quick blessing just to wish you all well. There's probably no need, I probably got too many blessings already just by being here, but anyway, I'm going to follow the program as it has been laid down. So here we go. Nati me saranang anyang, Buddho me saranang varang, ete nasa chavajena sotite, hotu sambada. Nati me saranang anyang, Dhammo me saranang varang, ete nasa chava jena sotite, hotu sambada. Nati me saranang anyang, Sangho me saranang varang, ete nasa chava jena sotite, hotu sambada. Excellent. Okay, let's also pay respect to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. One last time, we'll do the chanting one last time, just to finish off the retreat in the appropriate way. So let's do that. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Svakatu Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami